We agreed that we weren't too interested in doing a bachelor/bachelorette party and instead decided we do something low-key. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, My Fiancé Went Too Far at a Bachelorette Party, I'm Ready to Call It Off. People are telling me not to due to extenuating circumstances. And big shout out to Jeff for sending me this story. And guys, what we have here is a guy, he's about to get married, he's 28 and his fiancé is 27. They had their bachelor and bachelorette outings. She was out with the girls at night, and you're going to see in the story, went way too far. And this guy obviously finds out about this and pretty much says it's over. To which she has the predictable meltdown, and the blame game begins. And it never ceases to amaze me, these stories where these things happen at these so-called parties. And it also never ceases to amaze me how the blame game goes. Alcohol, then it's the friends, but there's no one, but the gal cheats. Never actually owns up to saying, I screwed up. It's my fault. I'm sorry. No. It's everybody else's fault. And in this situation, this guy's now, upon his storytelling, wondering what to do. Because you're going to see here, he says it's over. And she does have a meltdown. But then now he's starting to wonder because everybody's starting to talk to him and all that. So it's definitely an entertaining one. And goes to show that, honestly, in my opinion, if you're ready to spend the rest of your life with someone, you don't need to do this type of bullshit. Because a lot of bad things usually come from these things. So it starts off, he says, I've been with my fiancé for going on for 4 years. We got engaged a little over a year ago, and we're going to put a rush on the wedding because her mother was sick. Smack. No need to rush into a wedding. No sane person in today's world would do that, knowing what I know at least. Her mom had smoked for a long time, quit, picked it back up again, and then developed cancer. To look at her mom, you'd never suspect she was a smoker, but had picked up the habit. Her mother grew ill, or too ill for a wedding, so the idea of putting one together quickly faded, and instead, a couple months ago, she passed away. My fiancé was devastated to lose her mom at such a young age. I offered to postpone the wedding, but she really wanted to move forward with it and took it to the planning. We agreed that we weren't too interested in a bachelorette party, and instead decided to do something low-key. Her maid of honor approached me about doing something more substantive for her fiancé as she lost her mom not too long ago. Here we go, the maid of honor. And by the way, guys, as I say all the time on my other channel, you have to always pay attention who your girl hangs out with because they're going to influence her. And if she's not very strong-willed, it can go very badly. I thought it was a good idea. Famous last words. I arranged for a dinner/drinks and fun with my groomsmen. The best man, my brother, and my best friend booked a steakhouse and then arranged for drinks at a new place, or a nice place afterwards. They bought me a nice cigar for the lounge and we had a tremendous time. So notice here, the guys are going out just for drinks, good dinner, cigars, that's it. No mention of anything else, which you guys can use your imagination on. My fiancée was texting me and then suddenly her phone died. Imagine that. She was out incredibly late. Her friends said they packed it in around 5 o'clock in the morning and then slept most of the morning and had a late lunch rather than brunch. When she got home, she was still hungover and basically laid in bed and drank Gatorade instead of doing anything. The Saturday and Sunday were pretty much a write-off. She was that hungover. What was she doing? I asked her about it and she kept saying she pretty much has no recollection after a certain point. Her friend says something similar, that she was so obliterated like after 3 a.m. that they carried her to her friend's brother's bar where they hung out while my fiancé sipped booze while splayed in a chair. Well, she was also sipping something else. I never get it, drinking that much, that you're that obliterated, that you're screwed up the entire weekend. I didn't get that in my 20s because I thought it was just stupid. Things were fine until last night when she asked me to find something on her phone. I noticed a message come through saying my name, so yes, I snooped. It said, I also hope my real name, me, doesn't find out. I scrolled up and it's a nightmare. This afternoon, my fiancée texts her maid of honor saying that she hasn't been that drunk in a long time, and her friend follows up with the I know. and a series of photos. My wife and her friends in a room. Most of the women are topless, including my fiance, and there's a stripper. Oh, so he goes out with his buddies, and they have drinks and steaks and cigars. Meanwhile, the girls get together, and there's pictures of them all topless with a stripper. Okay. It's funny how you all know how darn well in the media, movies, shows, music, they always make the guys be the bad guys. It's always the bad boys that are going to do this and that, and the girls are the sweet and innocent ones. Well, these stories prove the otherwise. My fiancé responds, "Oh God, can we not?" And another photo follows with the stripper kissing her neck while her friends are topless, holding booze, and obviously acting poorly. My fiancé texts, "I feel bad because this guy here has such a tame night. He's such a good boy. I hope he doesn't find out." When your girl refers to you as a good boy, what does that say? That shows that obviously, if you look at the big picture, he's the nice guy she settles for. The nice guy that you marry, because he's a good boy. Guess what? I don't know any woman that ever has been attracted to someone they would claim as a good boy. They like the bad boys. That's what, and I hope he doesn't find out. That's when the maid of honor responds, "I also hope he doesn't find out," and by that point, she added, "He'd leave you." Uh-oh. During their night out, someone must have used her phone to take photos to commemorate her little event, because there must have been another half-dozen photos on her phone. The worst being what looks like my topless fiancé laying on the bed with her friends around her and a naked stripper smelling his finger. I was horrified. Smelling his finger. You all can use your imagination what's going on there. And mind you, these are the pictures that this guy saw. What about the things he didn't see, that they didn't take pictures of? Or maybe when the girls left the room with her and the male dancer, what else was going on? I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to come out and say I snooped, so I tried to get her to talk about the evening. I told her about our evening. She deflected. She said she was drunk and that she never needs to be drunk again, and then says something how she's not at all jealous of her single friends and can't wait to get married. Yeah, I can't wait to get married after she spent the night getting trashed and doing Lord knows what, other than what was not in the pictures, with the dancer. We're getting married in 4 weeks. I couldn't take it anymore, and I told her I knew. She freaked out and at first got mad at me that I snooped, but then realized the gravity of the situation. I love these stories. The guy finds out, and then they immediately yell at him, "How dare you snoop in my phone?" or "How dare you take my phone without my permission? I caught you in these pictures doing this, doing that, and I'm the bad guy here." She began to apologize and hid it behind being drunk. Of course, blame the alcohol. It's not my fault. I can't be responsible for doing those things in those pictures, and worse, it's the alcohol's fault. I did accept that, and she started crying. I went to another room to cool off, and I guess she texted her friend because I received a flurry of texts telling me that I was making a mistake and nothing happened. Like he's going to believe them, the whole group of girls that were topless and got her into this. Why would he believe them? After a few hours of arguing, the fiancé tells me that they went to someone's house where they all got obliterated and a stripper arrived. They decided to take their tops off and have fun. For any women that watch me here, I know about 4% of my audience are women, how many women actually get together and take their tops off for fun? I don't know anything about this, but maybe it's a new thing. You never know with the 20s. The 20s crowd. This is Gomorrah 2.0. But the last time I checked, a lot of girls get together. They don't just take their tops off and drink just for the hell of it. But okay. They decided to take their tops off and have fun. The stripper did his thing and kissed my fiance's neck and chest and attempted to touch her you-know-what, but she stopped him. They tipped him and he left. Sure, this is, again, her story and her friend's stories. Like he's going to believe them. Not to mention they were all trashed. So they're all drunk and can't be held accountable for their actions, but they somehow still have such a strong frame of mind that they still remember every last detail what happened. Sure. I didn't handle it well and basically said that it didn't really matter, and at the end of the day, that wedding was off. Good for you, dude. Now the waterworks is going to begin. Now the meltdown's really going to pick up. She looked stunned. I threw some clothes in my bag and told her to leave. To my surprise, she left. Her maid of honor texted me that I'm an a-hole, and I replied how much of the money I contributed towards the night went to a stripper putting the moves on my fiancé. I haven't heard from her since. Good for him. Wedding's off. Kicks her out. This is what she deserves. Problem is that you can see, connect the dots. This guy, as she called him the good boy. He's very much a nice guy that the gal settled with. And you're going to see pretty soon how everybody treats him, that obviously they don't have a whole lot of respect for him. And immediately, the maid of honor calls him an a-hole. Y'all were freaking topless with a stripper, and his fiance's cheating on him, and he's the a-hole for this? Really? But that's what they do, as all these stories go, because they figure he'll take it. I took the day off work and had to turn my phone off. My fiancée has texted me every 3 to 4 minutes. Her father called and texted and then sent me a long email. I checked my phone again about 6 minutes ago, and it's non-stop text from a bunch of people. No one on my side of the family knows. My fiancée is saying she'll do anything. She wants to come home, and she's sorry. It's always the same thing. I'm so sorry, and I'll do anything. Her father texted me again to please call him, and her friends added me to a WhatsApp group that basically outlines the whole night. Their indiscretion and is telling me that she's so sorry, and they're so sorry that she was too drunk, and that I'm an a-hole for not talking to them. So if they're trying to get this guy getting his good graces, insulting him and calling him an a-hole is not usually the best approach. But because they obviously don't respect him, because let me tell you, if they saw this guy, if they respected him, if they saw him for a alpha, if you will, a masculine alpha, you think they'd be talking to him like this? No. Or not to this extent. But they just figure they'll just wear him down and wear him down and wear him down, make up bullshit stories, call him an a-hole, and as a good little boy, he'll just eventually cave. That's the idea. That's what's going on here. I know eventually I have to say something. I don't know what to say or to whom. You don't have to say shit. If you want to talk to somebody, maybe the father-in-law, if he was good to you, but you don't have to say anything to her friends or her. You're done. Let them wonder. Get into it, block them. Whatever. I'd block all those girls and help block your fiancé for a while. I don't even know how to handle this. Not in a million years have I ever thought that my fiancé would do something like this. Listen to this. She's the most stable, earnest, nice, straightforward person ever. I don't understand it. I don't know what to do here. Well, that's what he thought, as lots of nice guys think. They're like, oh, I finally got that pretty girl, and she's so sweet and so innocent. Well, you didn't know her before, what she was really like before you all got together. I know she's in her late 20s. Usually mid-20s is when the girls finally, they're out of college, and they're ready to find that nice guy to settle down with. Does he really know about her college years in high school? Or her friends? Now we're moving on to part 2 to see how this thing wraps up. He says here, after I posted my thread, I got a lot of great advice and suggestions. At around 5-something, I was hungry and went out to grab some dinner and come home. I got home, my future father-in-law was in the parking lot. He saw me and asked to talk. He bought a cigar and a beer, so we chatted. He had no idea what happened and wanted to hear it from me. So he still has no idea. He just sees his emotional crying daughter and doesn't know the details of her dirty deeds. I told him the whole thing but refused to show him the pictures. By this point, I had a lot of photos and they were pretty rough. My father-in-law drank a beer, left me the rest, and I ate dinner and smoked. He said he'd call me later. So I turned my phone back on. I had dozens and dozens of calls, maybe 100 plus texts and WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, and emails. I sifted through them through dinner and finally got an email from my future father-in-law. Short and to the point. His daughter is sorry, she's a horrible mess, and is going to stay with him. He's disappointed in her and her friends and the situation, and to take time, but please consider forgiving her. Be like, hey, well, you know what? Maybe in time, I can forgive her because it doesn't do me any good by walking around hating my heart. Forgive her one thing in time, but marry her after all this? Oh, hell no. And he probably just wants to get her crying ass out of his house and not have to listen to her anymore, or his wife's nagging him, do something, honey. That's probably what's going on here. Right around 10 o'clock, 2 of the bridesmaids show up. They're knocking at the door and they want to talk. I let them in and we chat. Smack. You caved. You should have let them in. They, of course, just show up. unannounced, uninvited to your place, and you let them in. They knew they could wear you down. This guy's a nice guy. I'd say get the fuck out of here. You've shown me how much of a good friend you are to me, and how much respect for me through that bullshit that happened at Bachelorette party. They immediately started pointing the finger at the maid of honor, that she was the person that planned this, and they thought they were going out to just have a girls' night out. Well, this sounds in many ways like a girls' night out nowadays in the 2020s. But notice that. First, blaming the alcohol, then calling him an a-hole. Now they're blaming the maid of honor. The circle of blame. Where is the blame for her, this guy's fiance's actions? None. Blame somebody else. The toplessness was a joke on the girls out, and they didn't know that the stripper was coming. What a load of... So they all decided to just take their shirts off and hang around and drink shots or whatever, and had no idea that that dude was coming. Because that's what girls do nowadays. They all take their tops off and just... Because that's fun. You think a bunch of guys get together and strip off their shorts and are sitting around having beers and playing pool or whatever with their sausages hanging out? Do you think that's... Bullshit. They'd apparently had something to eat, drank a ton, and went to one of the other bridesmaids' houses and were getting changed to go to the club and were all wasted. They confirmed that my fiancé was by far the drunkest, and both confirmed that the dancer did indeed touch her below the belt. Well, that's when good friends would say, get out of here, amongst many other things. The fiancé was obliterated, drunk, and did verbally stop him after he touched her down south. After that, people got uncomfortable. The dancer was totally naked, and they left. My fiancé sobered up somewhat after water and then time between drinks, and then immediately began boozing again at the bar, which then she puked in a chair. So again, they're all obliterated, but yet somehow they have exact memory of all the details what happened. Bullshit. Number one, I wouldn't believe a word they say anyway. Number two, again, if they're so messed up to do these different types of things, then yet how can they have such a sharp memory of what happened? So bullshit. The bridesmaids left about 11 o'clock, and I thanked them for telling me the truth. Smack. He didn't get the truth. He's hoping there's some way out of this, I can tell. Because obviously he's in love with this chick, even though he's pissed. But no, don't buy this. They felt that my fiancé had been too drunk to do much, and they were all surprised the stripper showed up. They all said it was the maid of honor who organized this and asked me just to talk with my fiancé. Throwing the maid of honor under the bus. I wasn't in the mood, but texted her not to engage my parents. I didn't want them involved with this, and that she should keep them out of it, and we'd talk. That opened the gates, and she texted me on and off for most of the night. I finally agreed to meet her the next morning. It was awkward. Neither of us knew exactly what to say. She was crying and wanted a hug. Well, after that whole thing with the that stripper, I'd be like, you're not touching me. Lord knows what's crawling around on you. Yes, at some point he has to, obviously... Well, no, I was going to say at some point he has to talk to her, but he really doesn't. If he wants to end it with her, no need to talk. Honestly, it's like, okay, we're done. We'll cancel all the reservations for the wedding hall and all those other things. Give my freaking engagement ring back. But this guy obviously is looking for some way to obviously get her back. Like to make it, give her a pass. He was on the right path saying, it's over. But now, he's calmed down. This is what nice guys do. And let me tell you guys, he takes her back. You think this is going to be the last time bullshit like this is going to happen? We sat down and she basically apologized for everything. Took responsibility and said that she was so sorry for what happened. Oh, now she's taking responsibility. She agreed that she was too drunk, should have excused herself or stopped drinking, and didn't know a stripper would be coming. She said that everyone was topless, and she explained they were doing some dancing. The stripper did his show and then pushed her on the bed and inserted his finger. She said no, he quickly removed it, and no one knew what to do. The maid of honor danced with him a bit more, with their time was up, and he left. I asked about the photos, and the maid of honor and another bridesmaid took the pictures, and the maid of honor took the finger-sniffing photo. I asked who else has photos of the event, and she doesn't know, but hopes the maid of honor doesn't use them for any sort of revenge. Who is this maid of honor? Revenge and all this stuff here? Did she just pick some girl off the street? Did she have her friend maybe the maid of honor? But at the end of the day, back to the whole watch who your girl hangs out with. And sure, if he indeed, this stripper guy, did indeed Started touching her where he wasn't supposed to. Obviously, that's not cool. Obviously, that's not, obviously, you know, don't have to establish that. But I don't buy that this is all that happened. I don't believe this. I think there's way more going on here, and the friends are conveniently leaving out, and so is she. And this guy obviously is hurt, and he's been with her for years, and he wants to, you can tell he's already trying to find a way around this. I told her I understood, but was hurt and horrified. What do you mean you understood? Smack. She indicated that she talked to her dad, and that the maid of honor, who basically turned on Fiancée and said she did her a favor. They aren't talking, and as a gesture, the fiancé will remove her from the wedding, and will just have an off-balance of people in the wedding party. She hadn't slept, so after a while, she went to go sleep and ran some errands. We basically kept to ourselves on Saturday. On Sunday, she made me breakfast and crawled into bed with me. She made you breakfast. She ought to be cooking for you for as long as you want, amongst many other things, if you even consider taking her back. I had to be clear that I'm still really upset and told that I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. I'm not just over it. She said she understood, but wouldn't let this come between us. Well, she's not losing anything by letting this come between us. Okay, he didn't do anything. Come between us. It's her actions. I don't care if she was drinking. I don't care if the maid of honor supposedly did this. I'm starting to feel bad that I'm not somehow over it, and I'm not sure if I should just drop this whole thing. In the past, my fiancée has been a solid person. She's not the kind to get drunk or would have ever done something like this. I have a business trip coming up shortly that she's slated to travel with me for. She's packing her bags and looking to go. I'm not sure what to do. What do you mean you're not sure what to do, jackass? He says, to recap, number 1, she's completely and unreservedly apologized. Number 2, she's removing the maid of honor from the wedding. Number 3, her friends and family think this indiscretion is a one-off and work through it. And number 4, she should still come on the business trip I'm going to. I need perspective. I feel like a whirlwind has knocked me back and I'm not sure what to do. Smack. What you need to do is exactly what you initially did in the beginning, where his gut told him this is wrong, this is not the woman I want to marry, I don't trust her, and he said pack your shit and get out and the wedding's off. That's what he should stick to. I don't trust this girl. The whole she's so stable and all that type of thing, what a load of crap. And this whole thing right here, he said how the friends and family think this is an indiscretion, a one-off, and he should work through it. They're not the ones that this happened to. Okay, and of course her friends are going to think this because they're on her side. But you see how people treat the nice guy, how people realize they can just wear him down and just cave and go against what he knows is right. But no, I wouldn't marry this chick. Hell no, you can't trust her. And if he takes her back after this, I guarantee you that in the back of her mind somewhere, when she calms down, she'll realize, you know what? This shows me that I can eventually, if I screw up again, and it will happen, he'll cave. I can just blame everybody else but myself, even though she was taking accountability at the very end there. And eventually, he'll take me back or cave or something like that, because women do not love guys they don't respect. Giles doesn't respect this guy, and the friends don't respect him. And obviously, I would say the father-in-law likes him, but the father-in-law is probably a nice guy too, and just figures, oh, forgive him and all that. And you know what? I don't mind. It's fine. You can forgive after time and you heal, because you don't want to carry around anger and hate in your heart, because that'll poison you. But in terms of forgetting, oh, hell no. But guys, here you go. Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0. This is why these bachelorette parties usually a bad idea. And again, notice how the guys, they went out, it sounds like they went to a steakhouse or something. Fancy dinner, drinks, cigars, pretty low-key. The girls, sitting around all taking their shirts off, which I still don't get. Then the dancer comes, and I still don't buy the whole, that this is all that happened. Because again, if they were too trashed to control themselves, then how can they have a good solid memory of what happened, right? I think way more was going on that was being mentioned, or they even remember. So, but it's his life, so it's disappointing to hear at the end. He obviously was going back on what he was doing initially, and there's no updates, unfortunately, because I was looking for it to see what happened. So, but anyhow, guys, good story here. Again, what shows what goes on behind the scenes. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me really know what you think about how this guy's handling this at the end. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.